and can I welcome Ms Franklin to the committee and for her contributions, which I'm sure we will see, and the experience which she brings to the committee. So I welcome her on behalf of our group. I would also like to wish all the best to the Vice Convener on his new opportunities. I know he's not in his place today, but I wanted to pass on our wishes to him on new opportunities. I would have also said to him, he doesn't need to leave the council to leave working with you, convener. He would have been able to just step back from committee. But joking aside, we wish him all the best on his new opportunities, even if it is regrettable that we're having to have a council by-election at the cost to the taxpayer. I would also like to thank Ms Robertson for her forbearance in dealing with my emails and inquiries whilst we came to a final version of our amendment. We've started off in some detail, convener, on general queries about the process. It is also, I think, somewhat regrettable that this is really simply a noting report for this committee, and that any report which would come back would need to come back to council, not this committee, as a full report. And that was the advice of officers, so any response to my amendment would only come back as a service update. So again, we're having reports coming to this committee where we don't actually have that much authority over it. It rests outside of this committee. I don't intend to go through line by line of our detailed questions and queries about the process. It is important, I think, that we've got a clear structure for reviewing and making sure that these system changes are implemented. It also does obviously reference in the report that there's no immediate financial implications, but acknowledges that there will be in the future implications for scale up and spread of improvement activity. Again, we thought it would be better to have a bit more detail in terms of where that money would be coming from and what sort of spend we are looking at to achieve the improvement that we're looking for our citizens. We also share very deep concerns about the change in the language from a place where all people can prosper. It is amazing that we change a statement which is working and which covers individual circumstances on the basis of what really is a small section of the population contributing to it. We need to show leadership and drive that forward, because prosperity means different things for different people. You know, to my constituent who contacted me working a couple of jobs, upset because if she worked more, she was going to earn too much money and have to be claiming state, she would be better claiming state benefits. What she wants is different from someone who has the ability to have a career where you're working 60, 70 hours a week and you're driving forward that change. So prosperity means different things for different people, and we were able to take that forward in the current framework. I think it was important that we heard from Councillor Many about barriers to participation, and also from Councillor MacDonald earlier on about costs in relation to a different item. But we want to allow people to prosper. We want to push prosperity and the hard work that can come from that in our city and in our policies. So moving towards more of a system where we are focusing on what the state can do for you, rather than making sure that we have a strong state which can provide for those who need it, but also pushing people to do as much as they can to improve their lives and achieve the prosperity that they are looking for, is to be regretted. We also had, I think, some questions and comments on the generalisation. It is a feeble logic that ethnic minorities underperform the general population. That's a bland generalisation. The stats show that certain groups well outperform the poorest white British, and we have linked data to that. And we need a more focused approach if we are going to be targeting communities who most need our support. So retaining a bland statement that all ethnic minorities underperform white British is not factually correct, and it does not help us target our support for those who most need it. And that is backed up by the statistics which I have provided for the committee. There is also, in relation to the green spaces, in notes within the report that there is diminishing green spaces. There's no evidence for diminishing green spaces in our city. The number of green spaces remains exactly the same as before. I was pleased to vote to protect St Fittick's Park from being further developed on. So whilst there is a reduction in space because of the actions of this council, there is not a diminishing number of green spaces. So we don't accept that some of the statements are correct within the report. Also, it focuses again on the state doing more, the council looking at developing small green spaces. That is not going to be the reality of council budgets into the future. We need to look at community groups such as the Gayron Community Garden, where it was an unused allotment from the council, and Mr Shaw played an excellent role in supporting them to take access and control of that, and they have brought in lots of funding to put in new gates surrounding it to redevelop it, and that's where we should be focusing, convener, not just on what the council can do for people. Yes, the council has a role in terms of key services and making sure that those who need it have that service, but the reality of the future of the council is that communities will need to do more, and that we should be empowering local communities to take ownership of places such as green spaces, where this is a small site at Gayron, but they've done a huge amount to regenerate it, and that is local people delivering for the local community, and that is what on this side of the committee room we want to see. So, convener, we move our amendment, which does agree the recommendations, but subject to some more clarification for elected members. And I look forward to hearing from my leader, Councillor Brooks.